Could you please let me know if you can see my screen?
We can see it, yes, and we can
Okay,
hear you
that's
perfectly.
okay, that's great. So to start, as Mr. Video said, we're gonna be studying a little bit about learning language and literacy and innovative approach to teaching English. So it's a pleasure to be here. And let's start. This is gonna be our, let me see, my computer might not be working a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so this is our agenda. We're gonna be learning a little bit about the theory of this framework. We call it Trials framework. Then we're going to be studying about the first element that is called frame motivation. Then we will move to the second element that is called wordplay. And then we will move into our breakout rooms and questions at the end. So let's start. So to start, we have on our screen, we have two really important names. And the first one is Marian Kukiara and Dr. Lily Wan Fillmore. These two ladies are teachers. They work for New York public schools and also two great city schools. So these two ladies were kind of concerned because they noticed that English language learners in New York were failing the subjects. So they did a research and they find out that the kids were not receiving the appropriate grade level content. So they decided to find for different ways. And something that really caught my attention from Marian Kukiara is that in one of her articles, she was talking about a girl that came from El Salvador. So I was kind of impressed because she says, this little lady, her name was Maria, and she was immersed in public school for 6 months. And then she found out that she was failing. She was not giving any progress. She could not connect, neither on math, not in other subjects. So they decided to work really precise. And then they decided to create this framework. And with this framework, um, they said this framework is going to challenge educators to think differently about how English learner learns. And we know that this is true, right? We as an English teachers have to look for different ways on how to teach a new language to the kids, right? And then after that, they decided to think about different goals that this framework will have. And one is that places language and content learning in a contextualized manner. So what it means is that the process of making connections has to be between the curriculum and the real life situations that the kids are facing. So they were trying to make the kids feel that connection with the topic and all of that for them to learn better. And the other one is that places learners at the center of their learning. And I remember when I was at the university, that was one of the hints or of all the rules that we were taught, that the kids are the center of their learning. But why not us? Because we as a teacher already know the content, we know the language. So the kids or the students are those that need to be immersed in their progress. They are those that are going to be investigating. They're those that are going to be learning, discovering. So that's why they have to be the center. And now there are three else key points: text, talk, and task. So in this framework, I forgot to say at the very beginning, but we use this framework in my county. We have been using it for 10 years, and it's really working so good with all the kids. We implement these from kindergarten kids to high school. So all the EL teachers work with the same lessons, same thing all the time. But by saying that, these key points, it focus on text, talk, and task. Text, because we as a teachers need to know what we're gonna teach. So we need to look for the best text that can entertain the kids, not something boring. So we need to know that. And if when we are ready with the text, we know that the kids are going to be engaged. We know that they would like to participate. They can talk, they can share, they can participate. And task, by the end of the lessons, the kids had to do some task, like to review the content. For example, they can do fill in the blanks, they can share their thoughts, what they learned, they can do different activities. And it's like the wrap up things in which you decide what activities, what tasks you give to them. So as I said in my video at the very beginning, this might be something that you already know. Then it says instructions should provide access, attention, and active engagement. If this, when you're ready with your topic, and you know that the students can be familiar with that topic, they can pay attention, they can have an active engagement at the same time. But if what you are giving, if the content is not accessible for them, if it is too high or something like that, of course the kids are not going to pay attention. And the other one says students learn from quality texts that are complex, compelling, concise, and connected. What does it mean? That the learning process is tied to vivid life experience. So as you know, if you're giving a class, I don't know where you take it from or something like that, if it is not something that the kids are really connected with, they're not going to pay attention. They're not going to be like engaged. So it has to be related to life experiences. And the text needs to be interesting. It has to be entertaining, attractive, not bored to the kids. And I remember we were told like in the past, the kids had to read some books. For example, it says, the cat is brown, the cat is old, the cat eat fish. And that was something that was not giving like more knowledge to the kids. But what about if they find another text that says, the cat that lives in my house is brown? That brown cat is old because he is like 7 years old and he likes to eat fish. So as you see, it's a really different context, but it's saying almost the same. So in that way, kids can have more vocabulary, and that's those are the three else key points. But moving on, I'm not sure if I'm rushing, but I'm trying to do my best. Anyways, okay. So the trios framework, it has 6 elements, but today we're gonna learn only about 2 because I don't have the rights to present all of them. So, but I will mention them. So the first one is frame motivation. The number 2 is wordplay, reading closely, juicy sentence, differentiated task, enclosure or wrap up. I, I work with K5 students and I develop a flow, like depending on how many days I see them, how many times or how many minutes I pull out the kids. So it takes me around 3 weeks to finish the whole flow. So it means that you don't have to be in a hurry when you are developing this framework. And right now, I want you to think about this. Let's pretend that I'm creating a lesson. And when we create a lesson, you know really clear that we have to set the objectives, right? So in this case, in this flow, we don't call them objectives. We call them essential question. And the essential question is like the general objective. And then we call it focus question, is like the specific questions or objectives or that we have for that flow, for that lesson. And right now, as I said, let's pretend. Imagine that I'm gonna talk about the unit number 2, people and life stories. This is a unit I think in A, something is that in the actual curriculum for El Salvador. So I decided to pick this topic because it talks about days of the week and months of the year. But in my case, I thought, well, if they're going to talk about that, the students should also know about the seasons of the year. And that's why I developed this lesson. So for example, the essential question for my flow is, what should weather be important on my vacation? And the focus question, that is the question that I am going to answer by the end of my lesson, is, how does weather change through the year? And in this case, I'm going to talk also about the months of the year. Okay, so with that, I want you all to type in your chat box and type this. It says, what comes to your mind when you hear frame motivation? So right now you have at least a minute to type what comes to your mind. Maybe someone can read them because I don't see it. What is for you frame motivation when you hear it?
You can use the chat, and we would like to hear from you, audience. So we'll give
Yeah,
like couple of seconds to go through this,
okay.
and we will try to read them all. Somebody says, I work with K-12.
Okay. So what is frame motivation for you? Mm, nobody?
I think they're still thinking.
Okay. So I think, should I move on or I should wait a little bit?
We'll give oh, we got one response. And this is brainstorming, remember. So whatever
Okay.
comes to your mind.
Yeah.
So Henry says, I think it refers to those specific aspects regarding the level of motivating our students. Also, Jennifer
Okay.
says, like quotes. It's like a
Okay.
question. Students learning motivation that is built and controlled by teachers. Interesting.
Okay. Okay. So let's move on and see. If you see, let's look at that picture. It's a frame, right? So what's frame motivation? Frame motivation opens the lesson and creates opportunities to motivate students by connecting to the theme or the topic. So it's like activating the background knowledge of what they already know of the topic. And when we talk about frame motivation, feedback, it could be feedback, maybe at the end feedback. So when we talk about frame motivation, there are some things. Remember that we are opening the lesson and we were pretending that our lesson is about the seasons of the year, right? So when we talk about frame motivation, we have some artifacts that we can use. A video, an image, a writing task, like a brainstorming. And what do we expect? What are the actions of the student's action? It says, examine the artifact and answer the guiding question using the linguistic frame. And I will show you in the next slide what's a linguistic frame. But for some of you might be like, well, I don't have anything. I don't have a video. I don't have an image. But what about if you bring realia to your classroom? You can bring the realia, you ask the kids or your students, what do you think about it? What comes to your mind when you see it, or something like that? Then students turn and talk. They have the chance at this time to share their thoughts. Stop and jot in case they want to take notes or something like that. And they share answers with a partner and then with the whole class. So remember that this is like the background knowledge, what they already know. They're creating connections. So as students, this is a really good thing because you have to let the students talk first with someone, like sharing their thoughts before asking, like in the public in general. Because if you ask like right straight to that, they're gonna be freaked out. I'll be the same. So I would like to have like chance to share my thoughts with someone else. Okay. And based on that, I'm gonna show you right now a, a video. So this is the direction. It says, watch the following video and think about this question. How does weather change from season to season? And I will play just a little bit just for you to have an idea. And after watching the video, you have to tell the kids, before you play the video, you have to tell them the linguistic frame. And this is like the starting of their answer of the question. And it says, then use the linguistic frame to answer the question. After watching this video, I noticed that weather, and they can also say, I also learned that. So you are giving them the starting of the sentence. You are giving them a chance not to be too afraid of sharing. So for example, let's see, we're talking about weather or seasons. I'll play just a little bit.
The sun, the earth, the moon. The moon spins around the earth. The earth spins around the sun. And seasons occur. Spring, summer, autumn, winter.
Okay, just based on the short introduction, how does weather change from season to season? And then you give them chance to talk. So that is one, showing a video. But now let's move to the next slide. In our next slide, just give me 1 second. In our next slide, I have an image. And you might say, well, I don't have an image, but I bet you're a really good drawer. I bet you can make that beautiful chart and paste it somewhere. So it says, look at the image and think about how does weather change in the 12 months. Over here, I am not only introducing the name of the seasons, but also I am talking and I am showing to the kids the months of the year and how the weather changes. And then we have the linguistic frame again. After observing the picture, I noticed the weather blank, and I can have another one. I also observed that blank. And as I said before, you have to give them time to think about it. But I have another one, and this is a writing task, like brainstorming. For example, this is a picture of some of my students. They were in 5th grade. And we were talking about the Mayans in this case. So I placed a little chart and I gave them post-its. And I know this is easy for you. You can just write on the whiteboard the name of the unit or the topic that you want to talk and call kids to come to the board and write it. So you can use different techniques to make the students, to feel the students connected to that, to have like the background knowledge of what they already know, because that's really important. You want to know what they know about the topic. Okay, so these are my 3 techniques that I like to use and that most of my colleagues use in the frame motivation. But now we're gonna move to our second element. And I hope that you do the same in your chat box. When you hear wordplay, what comes to your mind? And right now, I hope that you can type a little bit too. What comes to your mind when you hear the word or the phrase wordplay?
And we are opening the chat in a couple of seconds.
Okay.
So once again, use that tool to share your ideas. I know that I was reading in the chat when our speaker mentioned something about activating previous knowledge. A lot of participants came out with different names, but it's
Mhm.
essentially the same thing. So it seems like
Exactly.
we're all on the same page.
Mhm.
So let's see what they say here.
Mhm.
In the chat, sounds like enjoy an activity, gamification, maybe using vocabulary that they know to introduce new concepts or ideas. It
Okay.
reminds me of Simon says, I'm sorry, the messages are going so fast. Thank you so much for
Okay.
sharing. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you for sharing. In this case, when we talk about wordplay are characterized by strategies and activities that are contextualized and interactive, especially designated to develop and expand academic vocabulary. Also, there are activities that use various strategies in media. In this case, we're going to talk about media a little bit to allow learners to say, hear, see, act it out, draw, and feel the variation of academic words and phrases. And some of the strategies for these are visuals for specific words, draw it, turn and talk, act it out like TPR, grow it. In this case, grow it. I have an example over here that says cry. How can we make the word cry bigger? Crying. Is there any other way that we can make it bigger? Cried. And you then explain maybe the tenses too. Then feel it like positive or negative, thumbs up if it's positive, thumbs down if it's negative, or neutral in the middle. Depending on the word, maybe you have the adjective mad. Is it positive or negative? So you ask the kids what they feel. How do they think if it is? And also when we can have lexical arrays. Lexical arrays are those words that have different interpretations, different meanings, or different levels. For example, I have the word hurt. Hurt could be like on top, then injured, wounded, striking. So it varies from light to dark, maybe. So those are some of the strategies. And I have examples over here. Let's see. For example, in this case, I'm showing or I am trying to teach the word pop-up. And for that, when I'm teaching a word, what do? I show, if I have a video, I'll show them a short video. I also show an image if I have it. But at the same time, I place what it means. And I have the meaning. I can have also a synonym and a strategy. In this case, act it out like pop up or something. But something that you have to be clear with this is that the words that I choose are in the text that I am going to ask the kids to read. So all the words are connected to the text. Nothing is out of context because at the end, all the lesson has to be meaningful. And in this case, let's see, I have this reading and it says, crocuses pop up through melting snow to bloom in the dark, wet earth. So that is a sentence that I have in my reading. When the students see that sentence on the reading, they will think about it and they will know what it meant. Another technique is write it. I was teaching this. This is one of my students in first grade. So I was teaching about eating healthy habits. And I told them the word is nutrients. Please write it. So I told them, don't look, I didn't show the word. I told them, write the word the way you think it is. And after they showed me, I count to 5 and they showed me how they thought it was. And after that, I showed the word. And those that didn't have like the right word, correct, the correct word, they had to make all the corrections and write it down. And later I told them, okay, let's make a drawing. And you might say, well, I don't have a whiteboard for each kid. But it depends where you are. Maybe you can look for sand and you tell them to write it with their fingers. Or if you are outside, you can give them a chalk and they can write it on the cement. Or if they are like, if you are on the dirt, on recess, or on that area, you can tell them, let's look outside and let's look for a stick and you're gonna be writing on the dirt. So you can use different activities with the same strategy. Next, the next one is building up the word. I love this one. These kids, we were learning about different words such as scratch, burrow, because we were reading about squirrels and chipmunks. Monks. What I did is that I printed the words, then I cut each letter, I put it in an envelope. But first, I showed them the PowerPoint or I showed them the word. After showing the word, I told them the meaning. We read the sentence that was in the text. And after that, they could make the word or build the word. And this is really entertaining because it's hands-on activity. I love this one. And especially with little ones, it could be sometimes challenging, sometimes entertaining. So depending also on the kids or on the grade the students are. The next activity is using your device. Here is also some of my students. They were in second grade, I guess. And in my school, students could bring their device. And I'll show you later what I do with that, but I will move on. The next one is shade of meaning. As I said before, the shade of meaning are those words that have almost a similar meaning but different interpretation. And she's one of my colleagues. She was doing that strategy. For example, if we have the word, let's see, good, what could we write at the bottom? Good is something that's common. Then we can have the word great, wonderful, fantastic, awesome. That is in case you want to also teach synonyms of one word. That is so helpful too. Or maybe you have the word bad. You can have the next word would be terrible, awful, dreadful, horrible. And the kids can learn it because if they're visual, they will see, oh, this one is a common maybe, but the other one I have never heard and it means more complicated or something like that. Another one is catch the word. This teacher, she was reading a sentence and those words that are on the floor, these words were part of the reading again. She was introducing the words for the reading closely. But she was reading a sentence and she gave the kids a fly swatter or matamoscas. And she gave the kids a chance. When they heard the word in the sentence, they had to catch it. And when they had the chance, some who got it, some didn't. But this helped a lot because it helps their listening. You can verify if they are paying attention. And I love this activity. I really love it because students would be so engaged. Some others would like to do it instead of that one that is trying to guess it. So I encourage you to practice this one because it's so so fun. It's so fun to do it. And yeah, I'm reading. Yes, for example, in my classes, I work a lot on the floor because the kids love to be sitting on the floor. They can stretch out at the same of learning. So this is not something that they're going to be sitting all the time on their desk. No, I can even take them outside. And I know in your schools, you can take them outside. Imagine that you're learning about maybe weather, about, I don't know, something about the outside world. You can tell them, let's go, let's experiment, let's practice something. And when I was talking about using the device, I love to work on Nearpod. Nearpod is a free program, but it can be paid too. So what I like about this is that you can even monitor the students' work. You tell them, let's join Nearpod. This is the code that you have to type. When the students type the code, they have to write their name. When you are doing the activities, you will see which student is doing it, which one is not. And I will show you, just give me 1 second. I try to do it. Okay, hold on. I will show you, let me see, Nearpod. For example, just let me know if you can see it.
Yeah,
Yes.
we can see it. Yeah.
Okay, so something that you need to be really clear about is that you have to work. You have to work a lot before you start the lesson because it takes time. It takes time. In this case, I'm going to show you a little bit. Over here, you have how many participants there are. So I'm on my phone at the same time to do the activities. You will see the student's name, and it depends, you can say it's live instruction or student pace. This is so helpful depending on what you want. In this case, 4 seasons of the year. Over here you will see this is a video, how you want to play it, teachers play, student play. I would say teacher plays. This was my frame motivation, a song. And I'll play just a little bit because I know time runs so fast. I'm not going to play it, sorry. But we're talking about the seasons of the year. And it says winter. Write or draw the word winter. So if the kids are using their device, they can write it, they can draw it like hold on. They can write winter. So as you see, and I as a teacher, I can see, for example, Kenya, in this case, she has not do it. I'm going to show you. I will write winter. And I will submit it. And when I see on the teacher box or over here, I'll see that Kenya did it. And this is so good because you can monitor the students' work. And I'll show you others. I will move on because these are words the same. They practice. They also have a chance to play like a memory game, for example. I'll show you over here. They can match words. I don't remember where they were, but they can play. And then I move on. This is another activity. What season is that? I show them a picture. They can see that picture. They type it because they are practicing their typing at the same time. Over here, let me see this one, this device only. I can even record the instruction and they can play it. Then, hold on, they can even, let me see if it's here. They can even record it. Because if I want to hear them talking, I can allow it for them to record their voice. And that's another task. You can practice all the skills. This is another play, another game. Let's see, this is spring. You can see Miss Kenya or Kenya didn't do it. No, I haven't done it yet. Also in this one, let's see, it's 18. The 18 is a game. You can even tell the kids that they're gonna have fun while learning. And I love this game because you can decide, you can create questions, you have to set the answers, but you decide where you want to go. Do you want to go underwater? Do you want to go into space, sports? Let's see, space. I choose a space, then I click continue, and on my device, because I already joined the lesson, I can even choose, let me see, I can choose a face. I submit it, and that's me. It says Kenya. Then I start the game. Because it's only me, you're not gonna see all of that. But on my screen, I said, on my phone, it says, in this season, you need, that's the same question. And I know that in winter, you need gloves. So I click gloves, or winter, sorry. And then it moves on. In here, because no one else is there, I cannot see the little image moving forward to the top. But this is a really good idea. So I'll go back. Let me exit, let me close this. And I'll do just wrap up. And we're gonna do the recap. So what are some strategies to support EFLs in my classroom? And I just did some of them, like visuals, gestures, labeling, providing and modeling how to use linguistic frames or sentence starters. You decide what you do. Just giving clear, simple directions, written in previous model, add pictures if possible. I know all of us, we are so creative, so we can find the ways, easy ways, to teach a new language to the kids. And now I think we have the breakout rooms, and I have some questions before we move on. Right, Mr. I think?
Yes. So, well, very interesting. Quick question before we go into breakout rooms. Were you using the free version of Nearpod?
Yes, I was using the free one. You
Great,
just
great.
need your, let me see, your email address.
This is something that myself, like my personal case, I will explore a little bit more because I used it in the past. It seems like they have changed. I mean, they have updated the tool. But thank you so much. Okay, so this is what we're doing right now. We will send people into breakout rooms. There are 3 questions out there. Quick advice, or piece of advice, take a screenshot of those questions. We will be broadcasting them, but just in case you forget them, you might want to take a picture of what you see on your screen. So will you practice any of the 3 else elements studied today? That's question number 1. Which activities from the frame motivation will you use in your classroom, and which strategies from the word play would you like to practice with your pupils? So
I will
remember you have, yeah, we will
but
have we will have like 5 minutes in the breakout rooms, all right? Can you?
can I share something else? Just I forgot it.
Absolutely.
So I was told to show you this because my EL director at the English Learner Department says you need to show this because if they want to know more, they can contact me. So that's it.
Absolutely. Thank you. So once
Okay.
again, we will send you